Hello YouTube, this is BlackRose240 and I'm doing an update for my Bubble Beats. It's been a while since the last video and I've updated the deck quite a bit. I've done 3 different versions of it since the last video. So I'm just going to go over the deck and then I'll explain everything after, as I normally do. So we have 3 Bullmen, 1 Stratos, and big change, only 1 Alias. They're the monsters, just 5. As I said, I'll explain later. Staples, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Reborn, 3 MST, 2 Hero Lives, 2 E-Calls, Rota, 2 Dualities. Dualities I'm thinking about taking out and putting back in my Gemini Sparks. As I'll explain later, I have been using Gemini Spark and I've recently taken it out, but I'll explain that later. 3 Miracle Fusion, 2 Mass Change, 2 Assault Armor, 1 Oversoul, and 3 The Warrior Returning Life. That's spells, so 5 monsters, 24 spells, and there are 12 traps. Got 2 Hero Blast, 2 Dark Bribes. His French name is brilliant. Pot de Vin du Temple Maudoui. Anyway, 2 Bottomless Trap Holes, 2 Dimensional Prisons, 2 Torrential Tributes, 1 Solemn Judgment, and 1 The Huge Revolution is Over. Extra deck, 2 Excaliburs, 1 Gandiva, 2 Blade Armors, 1 Maestroke, 1 Papilloperative, 1 Shockmaster, 8 Exceeds, 7 Fusions, Massier Acid, Absolute Zero, Gaia, Nova Master, Great Tornado, and 2 The Shining. Onto the side deck, got 2 Super Poly, 2 Chain Disappearance, 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 2 Debunks, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Solemn Warning, 2 Soul Drains, and 1 The Huge Revolution is Over. Yeah, so I'm using 1 in the main and 1 in the side. As I said. So, changes to... I don't think the side deck's changed much, so I won't go over that. Main deck, so Huge Revolution is Over. I put this in instead of Starlight Road now. In the extra, I had to make a few sacrifices for some of the new Exceeds and some other changes. One of my sacrifices was an acid. In one of the versions before this video, but after the last video, I ran 2 acid. And it worked really well, but I had to make a sacrifice, and I think that this was my first hit, and my second hit was Stardust, and that they came out for a Shockmaster and a second Blade Armor. And then I swapped something for a Gandiva as well. I can't remember what that was. Oh yeah, it was Nova Master. I took out Nova Master for Gandiva. That was it. So yeah, and obviously without Stardust, Starlight Road is no use, so using this. Trap lineup is identical to how it was before. The spell lineup, so we have the 3 Warrior Returning Alive and 1 Oversoul. I feel that now heroes are becoming far more dominant with being able to exceed. So having that exceed potential is more important than having the fusion potential. Although fusion potential is very good. So I thought, well, as I said about the pot dualities, I was running 2 Gemini Sparks, but I've taken those out and I've put in an Oversoul and a 3rd The Warrior Returning Alive. I've not tested it that much yet, but it is working. The Oversoul, sometimes I do dead draw it, obviously, because it only works with 1 card in the deck. But that 1 Alias is so searchable, this is very rarely dead. Most of the time I have been able to use it, I think. I think out of however many games I've played with it, it's going on 20 odd games now, because these are very recent changes. Oversoul has only been dead for a couple of turns, once or twice. His alias is just so searchable. And these give me a hell of a lot of access to my extra deck. The Warrior Returning Alive works phenomenally well with the Bubble Men, for obvious reasons. Just add it to your hand, summon it. Or you go Stratos, summon Stratos, get Bubble Man. Either way, it works. It is really good. So these still need testing, but so far they're working really well. What else? We've got 2 mask change now, because, as I think I said in the previous video, I played a deck that ran 3 of these. 3 was far too many, you dead draw it so often. But 2 of them is brilliant, 2 of them is absolutely perfect. 1 is too few, I feel I never draw it, and it's such a good card. First turn, special Bubble Man, or the normal Bubble Man, set this with some others, and you're either going to confuse your opponent if they attack it or something. They're going to lose cards, basically, either way. As I said about the dualities, I may swap those 2 out for Gemini Sparks, which I will test at some point. That's it for spells, monsters, alias. Let's talk about alias. So, I felt that alias has always been the weak link in Heroes. I felt that he's always the one that clogs your hand. Everything else does something. Alias just sits there, waits for you to summon him. With 3, I felt that opening hand, if I drew an alias and a Bubble Man, brilliant. If I drew Stratos and anything, that was pretty bad. Stratos and any hero, that was pretty bad, because it means that I couldn't do anything on my first turn. Most of the time, I was getting him. I mean, odds are I'm going to get Bubble Man just as equally. But I was getting Stratos the most, and so I thought, let's get rid of alias. Take him to 1, see how he runs. And as I said, I had a few decks before this video, but after the last one, where I was running 1 alias, 2 Gemini Sparks, and 2 Hero Blast. And he was working so well at 1. He was working probably better at 1 with the full lineup than he was at 3. Because at 3 he just clogs. He clogs so much. I have had those moments. I don't know if. Yeah, I have had those moments where I've really wanted a second. For whatever reason it might have been. They always happen. They're always going to happen. But yeah, 1 alias is working incredibly well, and in my opinion, it's working just as smoothly, if not smoother, with 1 alias than 3. I'm yet to test it at 2, but I'm guessing that 2 is going to be good as well. I don't think I will ever go back to 3 Neos alias in Bubble Beats again after trying this. He is so good at 1. I really do recommend you try him. Maybe it's just my playstyle. Maybe I prefer him at 1 of my playstyle. But hey. Yeah. So that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. So like, comment and subscribe.